Day 1. My new home for the next 100 days is Fjordur, and I want to be a Viking. It might be a new map, but we're off to the same old traditional Ark beginning. Picking up stones, punching trees, and crafting our first pick. Stopped to pick some berries when I noticed all these dodos. In my last 100 days, I was challenged not to kill any dodos the whole time, but this time they were fair game. So I started crafting up a spear when I noticed this off in the distance. Pretty sure that's a tech Rex. No, thank you. I think we'll stay on this end of the beach. It was pretty cold here, so I equipped some cloth gear before heading out to grab some dodos for dinner. Killed a couple before the rest ran away, and I couldn't find where they went. Took a moment to admire the view and the amazing custom obelisks made on this map, then found one last dodo to kill before setting up camp. Went for a drink and a quick swim. It was shallow but way too cold, so I headed back to the fire for the night. Got rid of all my skins and then promptly picked them right back up again by mistake. Then spent the rest of my first night getting ready to make some narcotics, which is exactly what I did first thing the next morning. I made some bolas and a boomerang when this very tempting Terra landed nearby, but I figured I'd probably not be able to knock it out and it'd just end up flying away. But hey, look. There's that dodo I was looking for yesterday. After I invited the dodo for dinner, I noticed this giant tree in the sky and took a moment to marvel at its beauty, before heading off to kill some turtles for keratin. I would eventually need 75 for a Terra saddle. Chitin from bugs will work too, but despite being literal tanks, turtles are too slow and make for easy targets on Ark beaches. I continued exploring when I came upon what I thought was an Archaeopteryx. Nope, not an Archaeopteryx. That is definitely a Microraptor. Thankfully, it was only a level 15, and I managed to take it out pretty quickly with my spear. I gathered a few things and then continued hunting turtles into the night. I broke my bow and all my spears on this tough turtle before I got stuck and it bit me on the butt. Not smart enough for this though, are you, turtle? Left the turtle on the ledge and headed off to grab some fiber to fix my bow when that tech Rex from earlier started heading my way. Made my way up this rock and watched while it started to eat that turtle I was trying to kill earlier. Hey, that was supposed to be my breakfast. You know what? Never mind, you can have it. I didn't mean it, really. I was just softening him up for you. I'll find another turtle. I'll just find a whole new beach. The Rex must have found something slower to eat than me, so I made my way back to the beach and spent the rest of the night watching the forest line in case he decided to return. Got started bright and early on day 3, gathering things. If I wanted to be a Viking, I was gonna need a boat. Plus, I'd promised that tech Rex I would leave his beach. Before leaving, I decided to test out this new boomerang on some dillos. Turns out it works quite well, so I tamed up 3 and named them D, Spitfire, and Phyllis. Spent most of the day training the new recruits, then gathered some material before night.
Aren't those the thingies that you put on? The thingies that you have to use to spawn like the bosses?
Yeah.
Knew it.
Ended up spending the rest of the night trying to lower foundations so I could start building on this boat. Upgraded to hide armor that morning and spent the rest of the day getting the boat ready to set sail. I worked late into the evening and finished up by adding some rails to the top. Then I started to lead the dillos onto the boat before stopping to admire this beautiful aurora. Oh, it's so pretty!
Whoa!
Spent the rest of the night getting the other 2 dillos into our new home.
They're smart, aren't they?
Things started to come together in the wee hours of day 5 as we finally placed some storage.
You have a houseboat.
I grabbed everything I'd already made, then gathered some materials to make a mortar and pestle and forge before finally setting sail. We headed off down the coast when I saw this sunken ship I wanted to stop and check out. Hopped off the boat and noticed this red glow in the trees. Definitely an alpha something. Went in cautiously to check it out anyway, got some meat, scrap metal, and a metal hatchet. Went a bit closer and turned around to find another microwave. Oh, excuse me, sir. I'll just go this way, thanks. Found absolutely nothing in the wreckage, but managed to make it back to our boat in one piece. Continued down the coast and added 2 new dillos to our crew, Jane and Nedry. This boat life was starting to grow on me. Sailing was the plan for most of day 6, staying close to the shore because I wasn't sure if the boat-wrecking Leedsithcus spawned on this map or not. Ended up back not too far from Tech Rex Beach, killing turtles for more keratin. But when Phyllis hit a nearby trike, he and his buddy got a little bit testy. It took some effort and me unsuccessfully playing Matador for a moment, but my dillos had it handled. After they finished off the trike, I figured why not add a few more to the army. Knocked out 4 more Dillos, and yeah, we don't really have to talk about their names, but I was pretty happy with Potato. Took the new recruits out for their initiation, and then gathered some materials before retiring back to the boat for some building. I built all through the night, adding ceilings to the outside of the boat. Trying to get Dillos through doors was getting old fast. Forgot to record ramps and rails. Sorry people. But here's the finished product. Everybody on the boat. It was time to ship off again, so I loaded all the Dillos in the boat and we headed out to find a flyer. Spotted this Moshops on the beach and figured it'd be great for gathering berries. Tamed it up and named it Jill too. Loaded her up on the boat and we got back on the water. Hello. No. Pulled into this cove with several Terras on the beach, but these sneaky little snatchers weren't having. I stepped out the back to try to shoot it, but missed, and then it stole my bow. Got my spear ready, but had to stop and fetch Jill, who was running off up the hill. I'll take that bow back, thank you. And I don't know what you took, but I want it back too. Turns out there was metal nearby, so most of day 8 was spent gathering things to upgrade the boat with a smithy and second forge. Decided to name this place Thieves' Cove. Apparently it was full of them. I bullied this pego, but it jumped for my stuff anyway. Managed to make myself some metal tools and a crossbow, then headed out for a long night with Jill gathering metal. Finally got around to taming a Terra on day 9. Knocked out this beautiful red one, fed it some meat, and then headed up the beach to explore for a bit. Thought I'd stop and check the levels of some not so pretty Terras and saw this 130. Wait, come back, be my friend. It ignored my calls, but I bowled it anyway and knocked it out. I was all out of meat, so I headed off to find something to feed our new friend. Come here, Dodo. Sorry. I told him all about our boat and the Dillo army while I waited for him to tame, then named him Jerry when he woke up. Saddled him up, but I had too much junk in the trunk, so we headed off down the beach this way. The red Terra had finished taming too, so I named it Cinnamon, then left it and my stuff at the boat so I could go exploring with Jerry. Oh, flight. It was pretty exciting to finally be in the air. I spent the rest of the day exploring and looking for crystal. Crystal! Finally found some that night, along with some obsidian, chopped up all I could carry, which wasn't very much, and headed back to our boat. Finally made myself a spyglass the next morning, and then took Jerry out to grab some breakfast. Then spotted this 150 Dillo chilling by the boat. Couldn't resist and had to tame him. Our trusty boomerang did the trick, and I named it Beast. Gathered some materials so I could expand the second level of our boat when things got interesting. Oh my god. I might have panicked just a bit before finally getting it together and hopping on Jerry, but then I forgot how to cancel the ceiling I was building. Stop, put that away. These boat-wrecking raptors were ruining my day. First Cinnamon, Jill too, and then Pepper were killed before we finally got our act together and finished them all. I think it's time we get some bigger dinos around here. Now, back to boat building. It was looking pretty good except for this sail sticking through, but look what I found. Apparently rafts have a hide sail option. Nice. Started some narcotics so I could do some taming tomorrow, then headed out on Jerry for the night to collect some metal. Made my way back on foot the next morning when I spotted these raptors and headed the other way. I thought I'd escaped when they jumped me from behind and knocked me off this cliff. I was too heavy to fly, but I knew if I could just get on Jerry, we could fight. Oh jeez. Gotta get on Jerry. If I can just get on Jerry. But they pinned me against this rock and I did not get on Jerry. Well, just call me Bob. Dead on a beach to a couple of raptors on day 11. No big deal, but I was pretty worried about Jerry. I ran back to the fight with nothing but my undies and whistled him off as fast as I could. Called in the Dillo army to go teach those raptors a lesson, but turns out they'd already picked a fight with something bigger and badder than us. Grabbed my stuff and then spent the rest of the day looking for something better than Dillos to tame. Thought pretty hard about a wolf, but they were all busy fighting mammoths when this bright red raptor caught my eye. Not the best level, but it would definitely be an upgrade from the Dillos. While I was waiting for it to tame up, this max level 150 Pteranodon landed nearby. Yep. You're going home with me. Knocked it out and killed this nearby raptor to feed it, then headed back to check on our raptor. I was just in time and named her Ginger. Together, we made it back to check on the red Terra that morning, but I got bored and thought we'd go kill some things while we waited. I didn't know it yet, but this was a big mistake. When I returned, a raptor was trying to eat that Terra. I tried to stop it, but I accidentally killed the Terra myself. So much for that. No cryopods yet, so Ginger, Jerry, and I made our way down the beach back to the boat. Ginger needed levels, and I needed anger management, so we killed everything in our path on the way back. The Dillo army welcomed us home with a feast, then I killed this nuisance before I headed out on Jerry for a bit more exploring. Spotted these hexagons and wondered if there were wyverns nearby, but only found an empty cave. It was getting super cold, so I made my way back home when I spotted this 120 Tech Raptor. Perfect. Maybe I can redeem myself from that earlier fiasco. Knocked it out with my crossbow, then headed back to the boat to grab some meat off of Ginger. But apparently the raptors in this area have some sort of hit out on me because these guys tried to eat me first. I introduced them to Ginger and the Dillos, and that was that. The Tech Raptor was still taming the next morning when I spotted this 140 Dimorphodon. Knocked him out right by the boat, then headed off to grab our new Tech Raptor, who I ended up naming Zoid. Started loading up the dinos because I was done with this raptor-infested place. Named my new Dimorphodon Snape, and then spent the rest of the day getting everybody on the boat. Grabbed a bit of metal to smelt while we traveled, and then set sail for the night. I needed to find some oil before I could make cryopods, so I traveled all through the night until we came across this island full of metal and oil nodes. The water was pretty deep here, so I decided to pull in at a nearby cove instead, and then we headed over on Jerry to grab some oil. Collected all I could carry, then dropped it off back at the boat before heading off to explore this new place. I was hoping for beaver dams, but all I found was this 130 Sabertooth. I knew I'd be doing a lot of caves to try to get all the Viking skins, so this would be perfect. I bowled it, or so I thought. That is definitely not my 130. Killed off the extras and finally managed to find our 130 the next morning. Bowled it once and got in a few tranks before it got free, then chased it through the woods and bowled it again to finally knock it out. Grabbed some prime meat off this RG to feed her, then named her Ella. Headed back the long way and then got into a pretty big scuffle when I stopped to check out this bow shops. Not sure how we managed not to hit it, but it looked just like Jill and I wanted it. But she wanted a rare flower and I didn't have one, so we continued back to the boat anyway. Made it back and got Ella all saddled up. I think it's time for another murder montage. Well, back to the grind. If I can't find beaver dams, I'll just have to make my own cementing paste. Whoa, excuse me. What is with the raptors on this map? That's okay, I've got a couple raptors of my own now. I was too heavy and Zoid was in a bit of a bind, but we finally got turned around and dealt with the first raptor. Then I accidentally hopped off right into the water with the second. Quickly made my way back to the boat and grabbed Ella. She moved pretty well in the water and took care of the second raptor, no problem. Now, back to the grind again. Used some stone and the keratin Ella collected to make some cementing paste, then made myself a long neck and fabricator that night. Went out for some exploring with Ella early on day 16. Fought my way past this Carno before stopping to check the map. This looks like a nice path. Apparently these Trudons thought so too, and they were waiting to ambush us. It took some effort, but Ella managed to bite through them eventually. On up the trail, I ran into this gang of Daedon, but I didn't notice this Carno lurking behind them. It took all of Ella's stamina and I started to get a bit worried at the end, but we managed to take them all out. Got pretty excited when I spotted this 145 RG, but it quickly turned to terror when this Carno and his buddies snuck up. Already at half health and out of stamina, I ran to this cliff and thought I might be able to jump back to safety while they fell. Nope. Guess we're all going down. Landed on this ledge and thought I might be safe, but so did this Carno. The only option left was to turn and fight. I thought this might be it for us and Ella, but somehow we managed to make it. Shoo, that was way too close. I stayed on the ledge and healed Ella, but then I noticed that Carno was about to eat my 145 RG. No, that is my bird. You can't have it. Ran in to help out a bit, then peaced out before the RG decided to eat us too. Don't worry, I'll be back. You're gonna love our boat. Didn't have anything on me for taming, so I headed home for the night and made some stuff for a trap. Needed narcoberries too, so I headed off the next morning to find that new Jill. I had a rare flower, but now she just wanted mejoberries. Easy enough. Good luck, Jill 3. Grabbed some berries on the way back, then showed Jill the boat. She definitely approved. I hopped off and hung around for just a bit before we headed out to go tame that RG. I found a good place to set my trap and then taunted him into following me back. Got him in on the first try and then started to knock him out with some trank arrows when this scorpion started picking on Jerry. You know what? I needed some chitin anyway for the RG saddle. Got back to knocking out our new bird, fed it some meat, and then waited all night for it to tame. Once he finally woke up, we flew back to the boat and I named him Barney. Spent the whole rest of the day out killing stuff for levels. No pain, no gain, right? Then grabbed this red drop that night. Not too bad. Day 19, and I finally found some beaver dams. But this Sarko was chilling nearby, and I'd have to deal with him first. Lured him to the sledge and then shot him until he ran away. That's when I made this shot. I was feeling like a real pro gamer until a few moments later when this happened. I checked the water really well for beavers, but I must have missed these piranhas that snuck up on me when I dove in. I was too busy fighting them and couldn't find my way back out of the water. It was my carelessness that ultimately led to my second death. Not proud of that. Not one bit. Went back for my stuff and then for some reason made myself an all new set of hide gear instead of repairing the old stuff. Then headed back to try again for those beaver dams. Oh, it's so dark. Never mind, change of plans. I think we'll just head back home for dinner. I was getting hungry anyway. Day 20 started off nice. When I went back, the beaver dams had despawned and I forgot to record. I forgot to record, but we killed some penguins to make some cryopods. And the beaver dams are gone. And we're on day 20. Gathered everything I needed and then found a drop that night to make some cryopods. Had to deal with these dillos first, but ended up having enough stuff to make 4 of these amazing little dino pokeballs. Made it back the next morning to find that a Tech Rex had spawned just down the beach from our boat. Moved the boat a bit further down the coast and then crafted some trank darts. We're gonna get a Tech Rex. I started by shooting it from this rock while it chomped on a turtle, but when it was done, it decided to eat me instead. Oh. He stopped to tango with his Sarko for a bit, then I just flew from spot to spot, shooting him until he got close enough to eat me. Hello. Ran out of trank darts and had to switch to arrows, but finally found a rock this Rex couldn't climb.
What are you doing?
Taming this Tech Rex.
Tech Rex!
It finally got a little sleepy and started running, right for the water, that is. You get. Started chasing him back up onto land, but he ended up stuck in this waterfall anyway. And now I'm out of trank arrows too. At least we've still got our good old boomerang. It took an excessive amount of shots, but I finally knocked it out. Please don't be drowning. I lucked out and it wasn't drowning, so I headed off to grab some prime meat. It was a level 180, and you could say I was a bit excited. Splish, splash, I was taking a bath. So it's hot. He finally finished taming that night, and we killed this piranha on our way back to the boat. Welcome to the crew, Rexinator. Oh, yeah. Everybody off the boat. We're doing some building today. I ended up just demolishing the ramps in the back and adding some ceilings so we had a sort of back porch to our boat now. Then added rails, pillars, some ramps on the back, and then a couple ramps on each side too. Don't know if we'd win any beauty contests, but I like it. Finished up just in time to unlock a Rex saddle. So I left all the dillos on the beach and headed out on Rexinator to do some killing.
But because you have a Rex now, never mind the dillos.
Day 24, and I really needed to replenish my store of tranks. Grabbed a bunch of berries while making some arrows. I wanted to tame a shark, so I wouldn't be able to use my long neck rifle underwater. Spent the night gathering metal while waiting for daylight. The water was bad enough without it being dark. After taking the metal back to the boat with Barney, I headed into the water to find a shark. This female, level 95, was hanging out right near the shore, and I thought I might be able to tame it. Sharks won't follow you into the shallows, so I kept shooting it just out of its reach. But I wasn't watching my stamina, and I misjudged the depth of this water, so these 2 sharks tried to eat me for lunch instead. I just barely escaped before I took a moment to rest on this rock. I was still trying late into the night when my crossbow broke. Guess it's dinner time now. Made it back to my resting rock and decided that was enough for one day, so I headed back to the boat to fix my crossbow. Back at it on day 26. I'm not sure why we're trying to do this without flippers, but here we are. Spent the entire day trying to tame it, and when I finally got it on the run, I couldn't keep up. So I thought I might make a second raft to help me tame water creatures, but it was too late. I'd already lost it. Headed back that night, a bit defeated, but I had a new plan. We were gonna make some scuba gear. I needed a fabricator, so I stuck that on top of the boat, and then we headed out to look for some silica pearls. Looked most of the day, and then finally found some. Oh, shiny things! I thought I only saw ducks in this pond, but I was so very wrong. These piranha came out of nowhere, but I learned my lesson last time and swam straight to the shore instead of trying to fight them. I stayed in the water I could stand in, and then killed all the piranha with my pike before gathering the rest of the pearls.
Yay, we get all the shinies now.
Grabbed this chitin chest piece out of a yellow drop, then stopped by this cave just as it was getting dark. No flyers allowed though, we'll have to come back. Oh, The next day, I went out to find a female RG friend for Barney. Found a level 100, but had to take care of her buddy first. She wasn't very happy with me, and that made it all that much easier to lead her right into my trap. Don't worry, my RG Barney is way better anyway. And just wait till you see the boat. I let my daughter pick this one's name. Please tell me I'm not the only one who sounds it out like this. B-U-T. Headed back to the boat with Beauty, then finally upgraded to some flat gear, along with some of the random stuff I've picked up from drops. Introduced the two RGs to each other that night. I didn't really need more RGs, but I wanted them. Grabbed this red drop the next morning. Ascendant flak boots? Yes, please. Stuck them into the smithy to craft, then took them back out by accident. No. I want to make the boots. Now that I had silica pearls, I could finally make myself some scuba gear. So I suited up and spent the rest of the day out trying to tame some sharks. I feel like if Vikings were an Ark, they would have sharks. So I was pretty set on taming a whole pack of them. I started shooting this one with tranks and then got on the boat when he got too close. I shot him a bit more, but ended up losing him in the night. You know, I bet Vikings like dolphins too. We spent the early hours of the morning taming up this ichthy, and then just as the sun rose, I spotted that shark I was taming last night. This is going to be a good day. Named my new dolphin Iggy, and then we headed off to tame that shark. I didn't know yet that you could shoot while riding these guys, so I ended up just riding away a bit and then shooting back at the shark. Then I just repeated that method until it was finally on the run. It didn't take too many more tranks to knock it out, and fed it some meat and then just swam circles around it until it was done. I named him Sharky Shark, and for once I had a saddle ready. Headed back to the boat with Iggy following. Couldn't resist testing out the new shark on some different things, but it got late and we headed back to the boat. Maybe this water stuff wasn't so bad after all. Stayed out all night, making friends with a slightly higher level ichthy. I didn't have many cryopods yet, and I didn't really want to leave all these guys back out in the open ocean, but this cove I was in was just perfect. The entrance was deep enough for me to ride my shark through, but too shallow for wild sharks. I named the new ichthy Marlin and then headed off on Iggy to tame some more sharks. Had my eyes on this red level 95 first when I spotted this 135. I was feeling pretty confident now that I had learned I could shoot from the back of my dolphin, so I figured we might as well try to tame them both. I would occasionally misjudge my distance. Sorry, Iggy. And after my oxygen tank broke, I kept forgetting I needed air. But after shooting them both all through the night, I finally knocked them out the next morning. Got them both some meat and then tried to lead off these jellyfish that were sneaking up on my red shark. While I was busy doing that, apparently some other jellyfish had snuck up on my 135. It couldn't attack because it kept getting shocked, so I tried to help when these mantas started attacking too. They finished off my shark and then headed after me next. I guess that's what I get for being greedy and trying to tame two at once. Well, back to old Red. And now I've forgotten I have to breathe again. Do-si-doed around my mount for a bit before I finally managed to get back on and headed to the surface for some air. Forgot about that breathing thing one more time before our red megalodon finally tamed up and we headed back home for the evening. I'd had enough of the water, so I spent most of the next day just joyriding around on Ella, gathering all the chitin and keratin I could find. Then I decided to cryo her and Rexinate her up, so I'd have them ready in my pocket just in case I needed them. Grabbed some stone and started some cementing paste before heading out for the night on Jill. Stayed out all night gathering berries and then headed back to the boat the next morning to make some narcotics. Called all the Dillos in for a meeting. They'd be staying on the beach for now. Sorry, guys. Now off to get some organic polymers so I can fix my scuba gear. Grabbed a couple drops on the way and then started chomping up some penguins.
Have you even killed 10 yet?
Probably.
Okay, then don't kill any more then.
Time to fix those scuba tanks, and I think I want a canteen too.
It's like there's something on your foot on there, Ron.
There's poop on my foot. Went to check out this purple drop and met this friendly little compy. Then headed off to check for beaver dams one more time. Oh, there's a beaver dam! And it's dark. This time I had Ella with me, so we ate the piranhas first, stole all the cementing paste, then grabbed this yellow drop on the way back. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Got some good blueprints and a red drop the next morning, and then spent all of day 35 breeding our new sharks. Oh, you're gonna have a baby. Oh my god, it's a baby megalodon. Wait, how do I name it? Okay. Named the new baby shark, well, Baby Shark, of course. Then headed out for the night on Barney to get some meat to eat and hide for saddles to ride. Perched on this rock for a bit to admire the beauty of Fjordur. Then got just what I wanted in this blue drop, a water jar blueprint. I should have already had an Anki ages ago, so when I spotted this one, I was pretty tempted to grab it, even though it was a level 35. But look, its buddy is a level 85. You're coming with me. Brought it back to the beach near my boat, then shot it with tranks till it passed out up on this rock. It was a bit tricky, but I eventually made it up the side of the rock to give him some berries. Once he tamed up, I didn't even bother naming him before we headed off to grab some metal. He was a bit stubborn and didn't want to auto-gather at first, but once he got going, he was a real rock star. Brought the metal back to the boat and quickly realized that going up and down this ladder was not going to work. So I added some forges on top of the boat so we could unload Fred easier. Spent that night extending the ceiling on the back of the second level of our boat and then finished up the next morning with some extra pillars. The rest of the day, Jerry and I went looking for something to tame. Spotted this red Carno and was interested, but level 15? No, thank you. Maybe better luck tomorrow. Spent all night out gathering materials. I wanted to block off our little cove, so I set down a behemoth gate. I'll put down some walls tomorrow, but at least it's a start. Thought I might give the water another go, so I headed out to tame another shark. Yes, I think a 140 will do. I stayed with it all night because I wasn't losing this one to jellyfish. I named her Meg and introduced her to Baby Shark the next morning. The entire rest of my day was spent placing these fence supports. You'd think the first snap point would be in line with the fence. It's not. At the end of the day, I checked to be sure my boat would fit before I finished up with some walls that night. It was taking a ton of materials, but I persevered through the night and into the next day, adding more walls until we finally finished up. I was going to be traveling soon, so I wanted to know all my little shark babies would be safe. After breeding sharks most of the next day, I headed out on Rexinator to get some meat. Filled up the feeding troughs for the sharks, then crowd up the Rex and Sharky Shark before heading off on another adventure. I wanted to go see what was on that volcano island. Apparently, a ton of bugs. I had no idea you could get so much polymer and chitin over here. I think I see wyverns. And is that an X-trike? Ooh, and magmasaurs. I don't know a lot about Fjordur, so it was pretty cool to experience everything firsthand. Well, that's enough exploring. I know what I want. I led this wyvern off until he started eating on something else, then headed back to take its egg. It was only a level 85, but I grabbed it anyway because it was better than my current wyverns. Yeah, none. Oh, excuse me, sir. Didn't see you there. We'll just head this way, thanks. Let off a second wyvern, but came back to find no eggs. Ended up grabbing some crystal and heading off to make some more cryopods.
Is it fun to survive on there? Is it?
After an interesting conversation with my kid, got a pretty nice Ascendant flat chest piece from a red drop, and then spent the rest of the night out exploring again. Despite being really cool looking, my boat wasn't prepared for the occasional wyvern flying over, so we headed back to Shark Shores the next morning. Bye-bye, Volcano Island. Pulled up just outside of our new walls, and then spent the rest of the evening building a bookshelf to put all of our blueprints in. Then spent the night making shotgun shells. It was finally time to do some caving. Headed back across the water the next morning towards our original spawn location. I was nervous about lead Sithcus in open waters, but accidentally discovered if you use the K-cam, you can check under your boat. Also found that if you set the K-cam right on the water level, you end up with flying fish. Finally made it ashore and headed out to explore. Jerry and I found this Alpha Rex stuck in the wall, and then all these Microraptors just started coming out of nowhere. I don't think I've ever seen that many together. Hopefully they'll make a good lunch for that Alpha Rex. Spotted this interesting looking cave, but ended up chickening out. Not going in there without a friend. I'll come back when I have my cryopods. I explored a bit more and then grabbed a couple drops as it started to get dark. Came upon this castle, but it already had some inhabitants, and we headed on our way. Found one more drop the next morning, and boy, it was a good one. Spotted a couple more caves early that day. Pretty sure I know what's in that one. Whoa. Is that a griffin? Well, I know exactly what we'll be doing today. Off I went to gather some materials to make myself a trap. Got at Ella for some protection, just in case. Then started crafting. Turned around to find my griffin flying down to eat Jerry. Hold up, wait a minute. Ella wasn't any good because I didn't want to kill the griffin, so I tried my best to get on Jerry, and then we ran away. Now you know what could make this mess even better? Some raptors, of course. Before I knew it, I had a whole pack of raptors after us too. I started to worry I'd just have to kill them, griffin and all, but eventually we did escape. Finally, far enough away, I cryoed up Ella, and then we headed off for a quick drink of water that morning. These ants weren't having it though. As soon as I hopped off, they attacked. I struggled again to get on Jerry, but he eventually ate them all himself. I think we'll set you to passive now. Later that day, I knocked out that level 100 griffin, fed it some meat, and then spent the rest of the day waiting for it to tame. Welcome to the crew, Bucky. Spent the night out trying to get some levels, but this griffin didn't really want to hit anything. Despite being right on top of this parasaur, I couldn't seem to hit it. After finally getting frustrated, I headed out the next morning to do what griffins do best, diving really fast and looking beautifully majestic. Ended up leaving Bucky at the boat before taking Ella out to get a few more levels. You'll be going to the caves with me, and you'll need every last bit of melee you can get. She was tearing right through everything we came across when I spotted this galley running from something. Boy, that's a bunch of Carnos. Nope. Well, maybe. Why not? Figured we might as well just go for it, and she defeated all three with just a scratch. Feeling pretty confident, I made some grappling hooks and grabbed all my shotgun shells, and we headed off to that cave. All that, and this cave is not dangerous at all. I was a bit surprised, but I took a moment to thank the people who helped make this map happen. Maybe we'll find something cool in this next cave. Looks like this one wasn't dangerous either, but definitely interesting. I think this is where you can use the rune stones to teleport to the different realms available on Fjordur. Definitely not the adventure I had hoped for, but there's always tomorrow. Sailed up the coast the next morning and headed off on Bucky. Discovered this magnificent castle and dubbed this ledge Pride Rock before running into this level 145 Rex. Now that I had this ascendant long neck and could shoot off the back of my griffin, taming Rexes would be a breeze. You just sort of fly straight in and then shoot before turning at the last second. It's a bit tricky and the controls can be a bit wonky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy peasy, making big targets like Rexes no problem to tame. I was finally starting to figure out how to attack with this griffin too. Seems like it attacks better with its butt than its beak. Hung out with this galley that night while our new Rex tamed up, then named him Fang the next morning. Crowed him up and then headed out for more exploring. This terror was a bit rude, and then I discovered some Deinonychus eggs. Planted on a nearby ledge to regain some stamina when these raptors decided to attack. As I led them off this ledge, this sneaky microraptor knocked me off my mount and right down there with the raptors. Thanks to some amazing pieces of armor, I was able to endure their attacks until I could escape. Started to head up this hill, but yep, I'm pretty sure that's a Carno. They were hot on my heels as I tried to lose them on this ledge. Nope, that didn't work. It was a dead end, so I ended up doubling back when one yeeted me right off the edge. Oh, that was definitely a Carno earlier. Made my way back to Bucky and whistled him to follow. Thought for just a moment I might have lost them when I ran out of stamina. Hang on just a second. Is that a cryopod in my hand? Please don't be empty. Rexinator to the rescue. I thought it was safe when this Deinonychus came flying out of nowhere, so I headed over and hopped on Rex. It's been fun and all, but party's over. We killed off everything else with Rexinator and headed off to get some of those Deinonychus eggs. Nope. Ooh, yes. Grabbed a few before spotting this level 168 Tech Rex. Come on, Bucky. Rexinator needs a friend. This one was a female too, but we'll find them a boyfriend eventually. Shot all my darts and then switched over to my crossbow, but it broke. But I've learned this lesson many times before, and I had an extra crossbow. She finally fell asleep against these rocks, and I named her Big Blue. Well, that's enough adventure for now. We're back at the boat, gathering materials. I need to make some spark powder for gunpowder for bullets, and then I need to make some narcotics to turn those into tranq darts. Stepped off the back of my boat the morning of day 52 to find this beautiful 140 orange RG right in my view. Ran back in to finish those tranks, then headed out on Bucky to tame it. I had forgotten how fun and easy taming was on a griffin, but boy, this was great. She was down in no time, and I had to decide on a name. Saphira will do. Introduced her to our other RGs that night. Oh, excuse me, I need to go make some cementing paste. Day 53 was pretty much a bust. I headed off with Fred to find metal and didn't find any and came back home. Then I thought I might go scout and kill some stuff with our griffin, but still struggling with the hitbox on this one. Ended up having to kick this Carno's butt with my butt. Well, maybe we can head over to Volcano Island and find us a better wyvern egg. Let out just a few wyverns before heading back to check and see if there were any good eggs. Just this level 60. Nope. Headed back to the boat and then crowd up the Rexes, Ella, and Bucky before making our way to check out another cave. Ella made short work of this Carno guarding its entrance, and then we headed in to find... yeah, pretty much nothing again. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty and all, but I was really looking to fight some stuff and maybe find some Viking skins or an artifact or something. These boxes of hard poly are pretty amazing though. Fun fact, did you know if you jump up the stairs on a saber tooth, it'll do this? Made it out of the cave that morning, a bit disappointed, but headed off to spend the day exploring. This map was really beautiful with tons of unique places to explore. Found this interesting otter statue, another cave that wasn't really a cave, and then as I was heading home, this Giga popped in. Pulled over and stopped to check its level. Well, hello, Mrs. 145 Wild Giga. Wait, 2 gigas? This land is henceforth known as Death Valley. I decided to make my way back to the boat when I ran out of stamina right next to this really pretty 140 Rex. You just wait right there. I'll be right back. Switched out for Bucky and then headed back to tame that Rex. But oops, had to turn around, forgot all my stuff. I'll need this and these and a bunch of those and that. Okay, let's try that again. Got Big Blue out to deal with a pack of nearby aloes first, and then we headed off to spend the night taming that Rex. It took the entire night, but with Bucky and my new Ascendant rifle, it was an easy tame. I fed it some meat, and while I waited for it to wake up, it started to rain. He woke up and the sun came out just in time for us to go do some killing. This level 95 female Rex was wandering around nearby. I think I found you guys a lady friend. Named her Rexina and took her back to the beach to meet Fang. Sorry, new guy. Back to exploring for day 57. I found some metal, and look, another cave. Yeah, this one's not really a cave either. It would make a really cool base spot though, if I wasn't living on a boat. Ran out of stamina on Bucky and realized I was right by that Alpha Rex I had seen earlier. That's okay, I think I'm far enough away. I'll go grab some coffee while I wait. You can hear me knock over my mic here when I realized a Microraptor was attacking. Now hold up there, buddy. This is not a good place for this. It stunned me and knocked me off, and I was terrified Bucky would chase it right into that Alpha Rex. Please let me on and let's get out of here. I was tired of finding empty caves, so I pulled out my phone and searched where to find the Viking skins on Fjordur. Ark Addict to the rescue. Picked a cave from his guide, packed up all my caving things, and headed off into the night on Jerry. I didn't have a GPS yet, so I used my map and searched till morning when I found this cave. It wasn't the one I was looking for, and gosh darn it, it's empty too. Stopped to go after this purple drop, and looky there. It wasn't the cave I was looking for, but look at all this shiny stuff. I threw out Ella and then crowed up Jerry before we headed in. I didn't know much about this cave, so I headed in cautiously when these ravagers started running at me. It worried me a bit, but Ella took care of them no problem. This cave was reminding me of Aberration, and I was starting to worry I might need a gas mask. But other than everything trying to kill me, it seemed fine. Ella was a real champ, and it wasn't long before we'd found some goodies. I knew there'd be good things in here. Headed across this bridge and ran into these ravagers at the end. Ella was doing okay, but they almost pushed us off this bridge before she managed to massacre. Continued on through the cave, and yep, I'm pretty sure that's a crab over there. Turned around and switched out for Big Blue. If I fought a crab on a saber tooth, it'd pick me up and Hulk smash me to pieces. For Big Blue, it was just a great workout, and holy cow, I forgot how much chitin and polymer these things give you. Couldn't climb this ledge with my Rex, so I ended up walking around and following the other path up. I was heading in to battle this Spino when I accidentally stepped on this Megalo. I was surprised, but not as much as him when I interrupted his nap. So sorry, now I've got to eat you. The Spino ended up giving me a bad way to go when I couldn't get turned around, but when the tables were turned, he chickened out and made a run for it. So I finished off this Carno, grabbed this yellow drop, and chased him down. I hadn't found any Viking skins, but I'd sure had a lot of fun. I made my way out on Ella, excited to find another cave. It wasn't too long before I'd finally found the cave I'd been searching for. This cave was supposed to have the Viking pants skin. I was greeted by some Arthropleura, a Titanoboa, and these friendly guys. We all made good friends, but then my way was blocked by this rock, so I hopped off and gave it a chop. Made it through just in time to get my armor melted off by these Arthros. Finished them off and then headed up this path. Oh look, more new friends. Finished introducing ourselves and then finally found our first Viking skin. Too bad I don't have any pants to put it on. Explored a bit more and then noticed the crate had respawned. Grabbed a second pants skin and some extra runestones before heading back out into the daylight. We weren't far from the boat, so I headed back on foot. Hopped off of Ella and was planning to do some more Rex breeding when this raptor pack ambushed me. Not much damage was done, but they sure made a mess of my dinos. I was pretty excited about my new Viking skin, so I fixed my flat gear and put them on. Then knocked out this 145 Terra that was just chilling by the boat before crawling up all the Rexes and loading Ella onto the boat. It was time to get back on the water. Named our new Terra Danger and off we went. Made a quick pit stop with Fred for some metal before heading back to Old Shark Bay. I wanted to hatch some of the eggs I had, but first I was going to have to gather some materials and do some building. Built a platform with some rails and a generator on my extra raft, added some air conditioners and a fridge, and then did some wiring before adding even more air conditioners. Tested it out with a wyvern egg, but not enough ACs. Added more, but still not enough. Maybe a couple more. Nope. Surely this'll do it. You know what? I didn't really want a wyvern anyway. Let's hatch some Rexes. Hatched these two cuties the next morning and led them off onto the beach. Added a feeding trough to our little nursery raft and then hatched some RG eggs too. They were cute, but I really wanted more Rexes to fight Itsy and Bitsy later. So I did some breeding and then spent the night giving them all cuddles. I had been keeping an eye out for a male Tech Rex, and day 63 I finally found one. You can breed Tech Rexes, but not with regular Rexes, so now I could finally make little robot Rex babies. And with the high-level Tech Rexes I already had, they'd be some serious little beasts. I was becoming an old pro at taming Rexes on a griffin, so it wasn't long before we had him back at the beach to meet his new friends. Even though the male was a lower level, you have a chance to get each stat from either parent, so I'll just keep breeding until I get a male with good health and melee from one of these high-level mamas. Aw, I've never had tech babies. They're so cute. Had a little trouble getting this guy off the raft, and then spent the rest of the day filling up the feeding trough, making more cryopods, freezing dinos, and making more Tech Rex babies. That night, Raptor Claws came, but no presents for me unless you count this sneaky raptor surprise. Back to caving day 65, I wanted more Viking skins. It was so hot, I almost chickened out and turned around. But not today. I made my way across this sketchy bridge and headed into this room. There were some scorpions and a few different directions to choose from. I ended up going straight and then took a left down this hallway. Big Blue barely fit through this doorway, and there was no way she was going through this next door. So I switched over to Ella and we made our way into this old mine filled with metal. Didn't see much else, and at the end found myself right back in that big room where we started. Decided to check out this room off to the right next, and didn't find much other than this old pile of bones. Ended up heading back down the straight hallway, and this time I didn't turn left. I knew I needed to take this path over to the right to get to the Viking skin, but I wasn't sure what was at the end, so I switched over to Big Blue just in case. Felt kinda silly when I got to the end and had to just switch right back over to Ella, because Big Blue was just too big. No big deal though, just scorpions in here and this giant dung beetle. I guess I forgot to take off that giant bug mod I'd been testing. Hopped across this ledge and then killed this snake before grappling up to where I thought the Viking skin was. I don't have a lot of experience with grapples, so it took me a second to figure out the controls before I finally pulled myself up. But this was not the ledge I was looking for, and I made my way back down. Almost made a big oopsie and then finally found the right ledge. Grappled up and just barely made it to the edge. Chopped this crystal out of the way, and there it was, my next Viking skin. This one was for my hatchet and came with some runestones too. Back down to Ella I went. I was getting better at this grappling thing. Thought about grappling across this ledge, but was out of cryopods, so we made the jump anyway and headed back out. I didn't care about any artifacts, I just wanted to be a Viking. I had to get out a torch to get back across this ledge. I'm not really sure how I managed it on the Rex. Wanted to check out what was under this bridge, but other than this shiny skeleton, there wasn't much. Headed back up on Ella and made our way out the back entrance of this cave. I'd been in there for almost 2 days straight, so I was pretty excited to head back to the boat on Danger that night. Spent most of the day on the beach making more Tech Rex babies and gathering meat with Ella. Ended up hatching this male with great health and melee and named him Goldabeast. Grabbed this red drop with an Ascendant RG saddle, cryoed up Rexinator, Bucky, and Ella, and then grabbed Sharky Shark just in case before heading out on Danger to find another cave. Made it to the entrance early the next morning and cryoed up Danger. Don't really know what I was thinking, but I didn't place any sleeping bags and headed in with all my best dinos right in my pocket. I've done a lot of stupid things in Ark, but this is pretty high on the list. One time, a friend and I thought it'd be smart to trap a Giga near our base, with stone gates. Yeah, it ate those for breakfast, and then ate our 3 tamed Gigas for lunch. Too bad I didn't have a YouTube channel then. You could have enjoyed our pain in all its glory instead of just hearing this story. But that's okay. There's more stupid mistakes where that one came from. Just keep watching. I missed this jump and went right in the lava with all my best gear and cryopod. I think at this point, for some reason, I thought I could still get them back. So I cryoed up Jerry and headed in with him too. But this run was even worse than the first, and in the lava we went. At this point, I had nothing to lose and made a few more failed attempts before making it close and trying to check for my body with the K-cam. But it was a lost cause, and I don't know how I'd have got my stuff back anyway. Kept trying to make it just for fun and made it almost to the end once before running out of sleeping bags. I respawned back at the boat, and it was time to move on and accept our failure. I pieced together some armor and started crafting some replacements for my other gear. Then decided to make some blue dye to cheer myself up. Got that started cooking, then grabbed some narco berries with Jill so we could make some black dye too. Gave myself a proper haircut and dyed my hair blue before painting my armor blue and black. Made myself a new pair of boots too and was starting to feel a bit better when I realized I'd been wearing my Viking skins. Well, at least I already had a second set of the pants skin. Now I just have to go back and get the hatchet skin. Oh well. Time for more tech babies. Spent the rest of the day gathering meat and collecting eggs before settling down that evening to make some Rex saddles. I was out of hide and thought for a moment I'd take Ella out to collect some. Oh, Stella too. It made me sad again and I kept realizing other things I'd lost, like my spyglass. Guess I'll just get off to check this Terra's level. Oh, 130. That will do. Hold still. Eat your food. Left my new Terra to tame, and then spent the day letting out my frustrations and gathering hide for Rex saddles. By the time I was done, so was my Terra, so I named him Jim and took him home. Filled up the feeding trough and named this new little lady Rex Goldie. Spent that night making those Rex saddles and then gathering stuff to make a second feeding trough. It was starting to get crowded around here. Did a bit of dino organizing and then hatched more Rexes. Ooh, is a baby. This was starting to cheer me up a bit, and we even hatched a set of triplets. And a set of tech twins. Ooh, twins. What a nice little Tech Rex family. Cryoed up Big Blue and this other Tech Rex I named Auto Chomp, then grabbed an okay yellow drop the next morning. I was still lamenting a bit over my lost dinos, but thought I might head out on the sharks today. At least my mohawk was starting to grow in. Grabbed all my scuba gear and hopped on Sharknado. Chomped through this jellyfish, then discovered this underground cave. It seemed pretty, but mostly empty. The rest of my shark adventure was spent fussing with jellyfish, accidentally threw my Rex out in the water, and then at some point switched sharks and lost Sharknado. Sharknado!
Where are you?
Oh well, he'll show up eventually. Oh, it's Sharknado!
Sharknado!
Why did you end up over here? After all night looking for him, here he was, just sitting on the shore. He must have followed me to the edge of the water when we got back, and I missed him when I was counting sharks. But now it looks like I need to count some Rexes. These guys are a mess. One more won't hurt. We were getting pretty close to 100 days, so Jim and I made our way through the snow to find another cave. You could always tell if it was the right spot because my game would freeze up for a few seconds when it loaded in. I hopped on my Rex, ready to go, before I realized this was the cave you had to grapple up. And I didn't bring any grapples. I'd like to say I'm usually more organized, but I'm not. Headed back home disappointed and spent the next day organizing and naming Rexes. Scrapper, Optimus Rex, and Bumblebee all joined the team. Then headed out that night in search of yet another cave. This one was supposed to have a Viking sword skin. Stopped to check out this whale the next morning and this sneaky shark snuck up. But it wasn't the only thing lurking in the depths. That is definitely an alpha megalodon coming our way. And oh my gosh, where did all these mantas come from? It looked big and scary, but it was only a level 25 and our sharks absolutely demolished. Back to searching for that cave. I think I'm getting close. Well, if it isn't another alpha megalodon. Let's go, buddy. This one was an even lower level and our sharks made short work of it. Now, back to cave hunting. Oh, would you looky there. Pretty sure I just found it. Made my way in with the shark gang and then switched out for Big Blue before I realized I didn't even need her. There's actually just more water over here. So I grabbed Sharknado and a cryo and took him over to the cave water. Please don't be eels. Please don't be eels. Made my way through this tunnel and then took a quick look around before heading up to the surface. Well, next time I'll be taking a good long look instead, thank you. That eel gave me a heart attack, but they don't dismount you, and Sharknado ate them for lunch. My scuba tank broke next, and I switched out for my new one just in time to fight this shark. Then I thought I could bite through this jellyfish in one bite before it could shock me. I was wrong. These other jellyfish didn't take too kindly to me trying to eat their friend, so they all started trying to eat mine. I was trying to shoot them with this really awesome crossbow, but they kept circling and I couldn't get a good shot. Sharknado was shocked and utterly useless. Oh, and some piranhas decided to join the party too. Just when I thought it was the end, I finally shot the last jellyfish and Sharknado was free. But he wouldn't let me on and there were still a lot of piranha. After finally catching up, I hopped on Sharknado and tried to get out of there, but he just wouldn't go. All that and we were just gonna get eaten by piranhas anyway. Well, I was at least gonna stand and fight. Got turned around and started chomping away. It was a close call, but we managed to bite through them all, and I cryoed Sharknado back up. Okay, baby shark, your turn. Didn't have any issues this time because we'd already dealt with everything the first round, so I made my way to the surface and continued with the next section of the cave. This part was pretty boring, really. Grabbed a red cave drop, chomped around on Big Blue even though there wasn't anything to kill, and eventually found the Viking chest with a shield skin. I guess the sword is back down that other waterhole. When I watched the Viking skin guide, there wasn't anything to kill in this tunnel, so I went in sharkless and made my way through the dark. Yep, I remember this place from the video. There's the ship. How did it get in here, I wonder? And here's the Viking box thing. Turns out this one has the sword and chest piece skin. Grabbed a quick snack and back into the water I went. I'd been in this cave for 2 days now, and that was more than enough for me. Cryoed up Sharknado just to be safe, and was happy to finally get headed back to the boat. Got up bright and early to take Big Blue to the all-you-can-eat penguin buffet. Thought about getting this blue dropped, but then just pooped on it instead. I've got enough water jar blueprints, thanks. Then spent the rest of the day gathering hide for more Rex saddles.
Actually, make him walk. Actually, do. He just took a little drink of water.
Made my way back home that evening to finish those Rex saddles, and finally got a mutation that night. Look, it's pink on the top. Grabbed some metal on day 78 before heading over to the volcano island to check for more wyvern eggs. But single-player egg spawns are a little funky, so there weren't any eggs at all, actually. Thought I might check out the cave at the end of this scar, but no flyers allowed. It kicked me off my mount, and I was traveling light, so I decided against venturing any further, and we headed home. Crafted some cryopods the next morning and grabbed my scuba gear. I was tired of these jellyfish, I wanted a whale. It didn't take me long to find the whale, and it didn't take me long to kill its manta friends when they tried to sneak up on me. These dolphins were doing some sort of dance around it when I went in the first time to feed it, but they scattered when it did its inky thing. I checked, and checked, and checked again to see if it was hungry again until finally it was ready to eat. But then it got dark, and underwater, that's a big nope for me, so I gammed up and fed the whale a few more times until it was mine. I think I'll name you Wilson. Made it home the following morning and crafted a saddle for our new friend. Then we ventured out to find some black pearls. As cool as megalodons are, you just can't beat the fact that whales can't be stunned by jellies, shocked by eels, or grabbed by squids. Though despite that fact, I still might have peed just a little bit when I didn't see this 150 squid that was right under us. Oh my god. It seemed pretty chill, but I wasn't sticking around to see if we could take it. Killed off these sharks instead to feel better about myself, and then finally found some black pearls in this little cave. Grabbed all I could carry and made my way back up to the surface to head home. I still needed some obsidian and more polymer if I was going to make a motorboat, so Barney and I went searching for obsidian first. Finally found some hidden in the snow, and you know what else you can find in the snow? Penguin babies for polymer. Now I can finally make that motor. Oh, never mind. Apparently I still needed more polymer. And some fiber too. Jill was pretty happy to help gather the fiber, but I wasn't ready to go back and kill any more penguins yet. So I spent the day hatching Rex eggs and placing torches so I could try to finally hatch a wyvern egg. But turns out I waited too late in the evening and it was too cold. Maybe if I had more torches. Nope, still too cold. Well, maybe tomorrow. Back to the penguin buffet for now. Otto Chomp got a little extra fiber with his breakfast of penguins, and we eventually made it back and finally made that motorboat. Oh, but I guess I'll need some gas first now. Didn't have anywhere to go, but of course I had to test out our new toy. Oh, it is pretty fast. Stop. Back up. I was pretty excited about my new boat, but I still had so much to do. Gotta hatch this egg before it starts getting dark again. Yeah. Did some turtle surfing while I waited, and then finally we had our first wyvern. Yeah. Made a bunch of gunpowder that night and then packed up to go caving the next day. I'd lost Ella in the lava cave, so I guess it's time to give Zoid a chance. First up, I was headed back to the Blue Zone cave to get another Viking hatchet skin. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Well, never mind. I didn't bring a torch and couldn't see a thing on this ledge. No. Fell, but managed this clutch save before jumping the rest of the way and hopping off at the last second so it wouldn't hurt Zoid. Grabbed a few things to craft a torch and then headed back up to try again. With the torch, I could see a lot better and our second attempt went much smoother. Then I completely missed my jump and sort of just ran across this gap before grappling up to the wrong ledge, just like the first time we came in this cave. That's okay, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this grappling thing. How do you let go again? Oh, there it is. Hopped on over and grabbed the hatchet skin one more time before almost jumping off this ledge. And almost jumped off the cliff. Zoid made this super impressive jump. Oh my god, we made it.
I knew you could do it.
Feeling pretty confident on my way out, I tested my luck one more time with edges.
No.
Okay, that's enough heart attacks for one day. It was night when we headed back to base, and look, our wyvern's all grown up now. I think I'll name him Cheeto. Has there ever been a more beautiful sight than a fire-breathing wyvern flying at night? Well, a wyvern flying at day sure puts on a good display. Cryoed up Cheeto and then hopped on Auto Chomp before realizing he wouldn't fit through the entrance. Thank goodness for cryopods. You just can't fully appreciate them unless you played Ark before they were added. If it didn't fit through the entrance, you were out of luck. And let's not even talk about trying to move a herd of dinosaurs across a map. This cave's dinos were tougher than I thought, so I got out another Tech Rex for backup. I meant to bring a female for the mate boost, but instead I've got Scrapper. We were doing pretty well until these wolves got behind me. They were doing some pretty serious damage, so I got out of there and let Scrapper take over. But while I was trying to get turned around, they circled behind Scrapper, and it was starting to look bad. Barely made it, but managed to take out the wolves just in time. Hopped over on Scrapper to check his health, and I was right. It had been a close one. Leveled him up and then fed him some meat to heal before we continued on through the cave. But if that had been bad, this was worse. In we went through this castle wall, and I had seriously underestimated what I thought would be on the other side. Scrapper pretty much just became a shield for Auto Chomp, and he didn't last long. We backed up into the doorway and kept chomping until they were all gone. Sorry, Scrapper. If I were a rapper, I'd make up some rhyme, but right now I'm freezing to death and just don't have the time. Broke through this rock to grab this artifact just because, then ran in further to try to get the Viking skin before I froze to death. Grappled up to grab this red loot drop, and you'll notice at this point I've got 5 grappling hooks left. Count them with me, folks. That's 4 grapples left. There goes one more, that's 3. I think I was just too worried about freezing to death. I can't believe I came here without fur. Got the Viking skin, and now we should definitely use our second to last grapple to hop over here and get this loot drop. And without even realizing it, I grappled over here with my last grapple, stranded. Oh, you're kidding me. Ella might have been able to make this jump, but right now all I've got is Zoid and Cheeto. It's worth a try, maybe it will let me fly. Nope. Oh, no, I can't. Maybe we can sort of, walk across? No, I don't think so. After some debate, I took a leap of faith and managed to make it just across. As if I hadn't made enough mistakes in this cave, I was also about to freeze to death. I ran as fast as I could to Auto Chomp and we started making our way to the exit. But Auto Chomp was too slow. I didn't think I was going to make it to the exit in time, so I stopped and made a sleeping bag instead. Whew. Got it down just in the nick of time, then gathered my belongings before hightailing it out of there as fast as I could. I had my Viking skin, but getting it sure wasn't pretty. I needed to get some blue gems for a hazmat suit for an upcoming cave, so I headed back to the aberration cave I'd been in before. Wait a minute, this isn't the right cave. Ah, this is much better. Definitely aberration. Chopped these rocks, but just crystal. Then hopped back on Auto Chomp when we got jumped by these 2 Perlovia. I stayed safe on top and we chewed right through them before continuing on in our search. Found red gems first and then fought these bloodthirsty ravagers before finally finding some blue gems. Got that, now I needed congealed gas balls too. Back to the boat I went and crafted a gas collector. Cryoed up a couple more Rexes, Brandon and Karen, then went for the 3rd time into this beautiful, also aberration-like cave. placed a couple gas collectors, and then missed the jump again on the way out. Would you look at that? I'm falling. That's okay, I'll just top off here so it doesn't hurt Zoid. Oops, good thing I've got some parachutes. I crafted them a while back. If you watched my first 100 days, you know I'm pretty bad to hit the wrong key and jump off my bird. So it's always good to have some on hand. Time to give this cave another try that I needed all the grapples for. Well, this time I forgot my water gear. BRB, got my scuba gear and a shark, and now we're talking. Hopped in and threw out baby shark. Let's go get us a Viking helmet skin. It was super foggy in this cave, so when I got out of the water, I tossed up a glow stick to help me see. Another great tip from Ark Addict's Viking Skin Guide. I alternated glow sticks and grappling until I made my way all the way up to the top. I was plotting my next move when this Christmas bat came at me. I panicked a bit and started to grapple back down before realizing I could shoot while still grappled. Missed the first couple shots, but managed to reload and get it on the third.
Oh, reload. Thank you.
Pulled myself up and got a Rex ready before finally grappling in. Come on, Karen. The service has been horrible and there are bugs in this cave. We'd like to speak to a manager. Never found the manager, but dealt with all the creepy crawlies myself before finally grabbing the Viking skins. Hopped on Zoid to check out what was down this hallway.
Oh, no.
I know what that is. No time for that today. Maybe we'll revisit in 200.
I got my sending slingshot.
Grabbed some lucky loot before leaving this cave and heading back to grab those congealed gas balls we needed. This one blew up in my face, but I managed to get more than I needed before making my way back out. Spent the next morning making my hazmat suit, but I would need some more crystal before I could finish it. So I ended up spending the day breeding Rexes, and then I cryoed up a few not so great Rexes to take with me for another shot at that lava cave. I brought some sleeping bags, a couple extra crossbows, a ton of grappling hooks, and a few Rexes. I figured I could just leave a few kits in the Wyvern and just respawn and try again. If I lost these Rexes, they weren't too big a deal. We've got plenty more to hatch. Lost the first kit by just not jumping at all. I ran straight into the lava. I figured I'd do a test run next with nothing and see if maybe I could get my kit back, but no luck. I made the same mistake and ran in the lava again. I'd like to delete this and pretend I didn't do it a third time, but here you go. I did. Try number 4 went much better. My jumping was improving and I made it all the way to the end. But I hadn't brought anything, so I jumped across just to see how bad it was, and, well, it was bad. So bad, in fact, it crashed the game and sent us all the way back to day 88. Well, that's okay. We could use a redo anyway. Crafted some grappling hooks, and off we go again. This attempt was going much better, and I jumped this time. If you're wondering why I just keep running into the lava instead of jumping, in Ark, on keyboard, you have to hold the shift key to run, and if you're still holding that key when you jump, well, you just won't jump. After all that practice, I did much better this time, but I still jumped into the lava right at the end. Respawned and grabbed a crossbow, some grapples, and a Rex. Let's try this again. I didn't have any armor, but I finally made it this time. I got my Rex ready, and we hopped across. Threw out the Rex as fast as I could, but then when I went to climb on, I realized I had brought a Rex with no saddle. My victory quickly turned to defeat, and that was that. I would have assumed that the Rex was lost to the lava, but the next run my game froze again and took me right back to the previous run where I have the saddleless Rex. Well, maybe we can just try to jump our way back. Never mind, I guess that Rex was just destined for the lava. Grabbed another kit and made sure this Rex had a saddle before we headed back in again. Had a few close calls, but I was getting better and we made it to the end one more time. I didn't have any armor again, but at least this time my Rex had a saddle. In we went, and this time no armor actually worked in my favor. It was really hot in here. I contemplated this super sketchy bridge for a moment, but at this point I didn't have anything but time to lose. So over I went. I knew the Viking skin was at the bottom of this pillar, but first we had to clear a few things out. I could grapple down, but there are a lot of bats down here. Maybe if I'm really careful, I can just ride the Rex down. Slowly but surely, we made our way down, being very, very careful not to fall in the lava. Hopped off the Rex for a moment to attract the bats, and then ate them all up. Finally, the Viking fur boot skin I'd lost so much to obtain was mine. I had 3 grapples and missed with the first, then got the second, but had to remount so I could kill this bat. Just one left, but I made the shot and grappled up. These bats weren't having it though. I threw out my Rex, but couldn't manage to get on before they killed me. I might have rage quit after that if my game hadn't done it for me as I was heading back in. Wonder where we'll start back this time. Despite it being quite the mess and my wrecks almost falling through the bridge and into the lava, it was actually a good thing. This means I can try again to get that Viking skin. Shoo, that was close. I was hopeful this time as we headed back down towards the lava. Things went much smoother. I managed to get the skin, grapple up, and we made our way back across the bridge. I was pretty excited, but I knew I still had to get past the lava parkour. I didn't waste any grapples this time, so I still had 2 left, but I jumped anyway because that felt like cheating. You know, maybe I should have just cheated. I had nothing left, but I figured I was close to the ledge. Maybe I could get my stuff back. I got as close as I dared, but my body was nowhere to be found. I was pretty sick of this cave, so I just jumped in the lava before I realized I had already used my last sleeping bag. Guess I should probably hatch some more Rexes, set out some eggs, and then spent the night out killing things with Barney. I was so tired of that cave, I didn't even want to go back to get Cheeto, so we hatched this new wyvern and named it Dorito. I needed food for the Rex babies and some dino killing therapy, so I spent the day out with Barney gathering meat. Grabbed this awesome yellow drop with an Ascendant pump shotgun, then cryoed up Zoid that night. It was time to brave another cave. Day 100 was getting close and I was starting to worry I might not complete this challenge. It wasn't too far from the lava cave, so we stopped to get Cheeto on our way. I had a bit of trouble finding this cave until I realized this bridge and path over the waterfall led right to it. Hopped on Zoid and headed in. I had my Rexes, but the entrance looked too small. We were doing okay at first, but Zoid's damage just wasn't cutting it against these high-level cave critters. I went for a cryopod just as they broke my pants. Let's go, Brandon. Cut out our Tech Rex just in time to save Zoid. We escaped between his legs, and then I remembered I had a shotgun. Oops, sorry, Brandon. Cryoed up Zoid, and this cave was just getting off to a wonderful start. I think my Rex tried to eat me, but I hopped on anyway, and we started killing some bugs. Like, a lot of bugs. There were so many, they actually did a fair bit of damage to the Rex, so we stayed to heal for a bit before moving on. Just barely fit through the skeleton tunnel, and then it opened up into this pretty spot. Enjoyed the peace for a moment before I headed on through this much smaller tunnel. I stepped on a bug, and apparently it had lots of buddies who were not very happy with me. I don't think I'll ever need kiting again after finishing this cave. Made it to this fork and headed right to find more bugs, of course. The bugs were great, but the flying bears were better. These guys didn't like me trying to eat their buddies, so they came flying off this ledge to fight me. Grappled up to the ledge to look for loot, switched to Karen to deal with the pest problem, killed a few more bears and a bunch more bugs, but found nothing. This way looks like a dead end. Backtracked and found this honey cave at the end of the other path. Couldn't fit Karen through the entrance, so I headed on in with my shotgun. Then chickened out and got Brandon back out anyway. I've made enough stupid mistakes on this map. We'll try not to make too many more. Turns out I couldn't go any further with the Rex anyway. The opening was so small, this spider couldn't even fit through. I helped free him with my shotgun and then made my way on through to get the Viking skin. I had plenty of grapples this time. I might be making a lot of mistakes, but you learn something new every time. I picked up this epic yellow drop, then took out this Sarco with my new shotgun.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Then grappled over and took out one more Sarco before finally grabbing the Viking hammer skin.
Back to Brandon.
Cryoed up Brandon and made our way back out through the bugs with Karen.
We got a level up.
Oh my god.
Back on Cheeto and off we go. Stopped to check out this castle on the way home and found us really pretty cave, but I didn't have time. I've only got 8 days left to try to get the rest of the Viking skins and defeat Itsy and Bitsy. Made it back to the boat the next morning and dropped off my new Viking skins. I learned my lesson and I'll be keeping these in storage until day 100. Crowd up some more Tech Rexes and then made myself a glider suit. I haven't used one of these in a while and I've kind of forgotten how they work. Let's try that again. Oh, I have missed this. Why didn't I make one of these sooner? Okay, enough fun for now. Let's grab my hazmat suit and get this over with. I didn't have any extra hazmat suit pieces, so I was a bit nervous. If anything broke my suit, I'd be in big trouble. Thought I found the cave, but turns out I had my coordinates backwards. This was definitely not it. Ah, yes, this has more of a creepy cave vibe going on. Maybe this is it. Nope, never mind. Checked my map a bit more, and then finally found the right cave. I really should make a GPS, but I guess I'm just lazy. I equipped my hazmat suit early the morning of day 94, and in we went. As soon as I got to a space big enough, I threw out my Tech Rex, Bumblebee. This cave was apparently just as bug-infested as the last, and the Meganura here were no joke. They kept getting under my Rex where I couldn't bite them, and they were absolutely wrecking my stamina. Bumblebee was tough though, so we slowly and surely made our way through the swamp. Switched to Zoid to fit through this opening, and then came to this water. That is definitely an eel in there. I dipped my toes in the water, hoping it would come after me and I could shoot it, but no luck. Maybe I can just shoot them from here instead. One down, but I'm pretty sure I still see some glowing down there. That's two. But I was still nervous there might be more, so I ended up using the K-cam to see what I could see. It looked okay, so I cryoed up Zoid and dove into the water. The water is bad enough without eels to worry about. I just hate not knowing what's underneath you. Got out my Tech Rex Goldabeest, even though it wasn't for long. Good thing I did. One hit from this Arthropleura and my hazmat suit would be gone. Back to Zoid it is. But first I'll let Goldabeest deal with this second Arthropleura. As I made my way in, this part started to look familiar from the guide. This is the one with the leeches, isn't it? I knew the Viking skin was in the water, but I thought I might grapple over here and grab this loot drop first. But the leeches thought otherwise, and before I knew it, there were dozens of them underneath me. Well, maybe I can just grapple over here and grab the skin while you guys are busy. But my anxiety got the best of me and I hung out too long. I guess I'll just grapple and lead them over here now. Oops, wrong button. Oh, that's a lot of leeches. I had to go ahead and make my move. Things were only getting worse, with more leeches swimming over every second. I grappled over to the new spot and waited for most of the leeches to follow. I was fully committed and grappled over, ready to dive into the water and get the Viking skin. In I went, terrified the whole time, and things went well until we got stuck trying to grapple out. There's so many leeches. I was doing so good. I escaped, but now I was covered in leeches. I grappled my way out and back to Zoid. I had to make a fire quickly so I could get all these leeches off. I gathered some materials, but there wasn't enough to make a fire. So I cryoed up the dinos and made my way back through the water tunnel. My health was draining quickly, but we made it through and got the stuff for a fire just in time. I hopped on and the leeches hopped off. Let's get out of this place. Come on, Bumblebee, we're going home. Sorry, Snail. Grabbed some crystal on the way and made it home late that evening. Then spent the night organizing and leveling up our Rexes. I knew there was an alpha raptor nearby, so I set the wyverns up on this rock before heading off with Barney to lead it back to the Rex army. I told it we had free dodos, so it happily followed me back. It'll just be a tiny snack for these guys, but we'll take all the experience we can get.
Oh, what a mess.
I'm not sure if it was worth the mess, but at least I got this apprentice pick and hatchet out of the deal. Spent most of the day grinding out shotgun shells and cryopods. Managed to make this fantastic fail with my glider suit. Now we needed a pig. Found one, but almost set it on fire instead of picking it up when I hit the wrong button. Oops, let's try that again. My second attempt was successful, and I dropped him off somewhere safe to try and tame him. I thought up here on this rock would be a good place to shoot it from, but I slipped and slid off Cheeto when I was trying to take my shot. Well, maybe I can get a better angle from up here.
That was excessively stupid.
After that epic fail and finally getting my wyvern to land,
Right here.
I grabbed the pig again, and we found a better place to tame. You just stay right there, Mr. Pig. This won't take long at all.
Aye.
With my Ascendant rifle and these shocking trank darts I made from all that jellyfish jelly we collected with the whale, it took just a few shots and the pig was out. Roasted some Branos to feed it with Cheeto, then it was time to give it a name. No worries, I know the perfect one.
Boomba. There you go.
While Pumbaa was healing all the Rexes, I spent that night and the next morning reorganizing them all after the Alpha Raptor fight. They were a real mess, but I had to get them close enough to Pumbaa so he could heal them. Leveled them all up and made some more saddles, but I still needed more hide. That's okay, we're overdue for another killing montage. Put all the meat in the trough and spent the night making Rex saddles. The next morning, it was time to cryo up all the Rexes. We were almost ready to go. Crafted a few shotgun shells just in case, and then left for the spider's cave.
We go to fight Itsy and Bitsy. We're gonna fight some big spiders.
We traveled through the dark and finally found it just around midnight. Started in with my shotgun and tried to shoot this disappearing spider before I decided to get out Bumblebee. Together, we continued in deeper when these spiders spawned right on my head.
Hoo-yah!
Bumblebee tried to chomp through them, but most of them disappeared before we could eat them. I didn't know this was a ghost spider cave. I wasn't sure how this worked, so I got out all my Rexes to be ready, and then I ended up finding this terminal sort of thing where you can spawn the spiders. But you needed a runestone to activate it. Well, par for the course with this map. As usual, I'm unprepared. I whistled all the Rexes to follow and made sure they were behind me before I made my way out. Itsy and Bitsy used to be world bosses, but it was recently changed, so it's kinda hard to find info about how to spawn them. But I should have known that I would need something.
Everyone's coming out.
As we reached the exit, only 3 of my Rexes came out with me, and I started to worry. Went in to check and found Rose stuck on a rock. The deeper I went, the more worried I got. They were gone. This ghost cave ate my Rexes. I was a bit frustrated at this point. Stupid runestone. But the show must go on. I had kept several of my better Rexes cryoed up, so I only ended up losing 4 or 5. Made it back, better prepared. I hadn't even put down sleeping bags last time. Let's try this again. I threw out most of my Rexes and tried to organize them, but these spiders kept spawning and messing them all up. That's okay, you guys are gonna be a real mess soon. Put in the runestone and summoned the spiders. It was on. I hopped on the nearest Rex and we started fighting. The spiders weren't doing near as much damage as I had expected, and my Rexes were absolutely wrecking them. I couldn't see much for all the damage numbers, so I switched to K-Cam, and it wasn't long before the first spider was down. Bye-bye, Bitsy. Switched back to the regular view just in time to see the notification we'd killed Itsy. Itsy. The battle was a bit disappointing, but we got some decent loot. Cryoed up all the Rexes this time before heading out. That lackluster fight left me feeling a little let down. Maybe that 140 Alpha Rex I've been seeing can put up a better fight. It's still early on day 99. I'll still have plenty of time to finish up those Viking skins tomorrow. The Rex did a lot more damage than the spiders and took a lot longer to defeat, but it was still no match for my Tech Rex army. Now let's go figure out a way to get the rest of those Viking skins. I had just a day and a half left and 2 more caves to steal the Viking loot from. Still had to go back and try again for those fur boots from the lava parkour cave. But there was one more cave I had sort of written off. It contained the Viking spear skin, and to get into it you have to swim through lava. It used to be glitched and wouldn't do any damage, but that's been fixed now, and well, you know what lava does if you've watched this whole video. So I scoured the internet for answers to find out how to make your survivor survive lava. Didn't have any luck until late last night when I learned you could take a magmasaur through lava without it hurting the rider. Only problem is, I don't have a magmasaur, and apparently these X-Rock elementals really don't want me to get one. Turns out you can find their eggs in the cave at the end of the Wyvern Trench. Finally found a magmasaur, but I wasn't expecting his attack to catch me on fire too. That is not good at all. I don't even have sleeping bags down. Ran in with the Rex to try to kill it as fast as I could, and then I backtracked to lay down some sleeping bags. I didn't want to get melted off my mount, so I sent Rexina in to fight instead. But when this rock elemental decided to join the fight, I sent in backup. Go get 'em, Karen and Fang. Tired of hanging back, I moved in at the last second as they finished off the rock elemental, when this magmasaur started firing on us too. I knew I might lose them all to the lava, but it was a sacrifice I was willing to make to finish out my Viking skin collection. I called them back to try a more strategic approach, but Rexina decided to stay behind and fight. Well, so much for that. Sent Fang in to finish them off, then headed in on Auto Chomp to steal an egg. Got him all turned around so we could run after grabbing it, but when I dismounted, he took off. Whoa there, buddy, where you going? There is too much lava here to be playing games like this. Backed up and tried one more time, but off he went again. Turns out he was just trying to eat this dead magmasaur over here. We cleaned that up and he sat nice and still while I checked out these lava eggs. Level 55 or 150. I'll take that one, thanks. The magmasaurs on the cliff were not very happy with me, but they were also not very fast. So I grabbed my Rexes and ran away. Headed back into the night of day 99. At least I think it was night. Things were a little funky at first. Set out a bunch of extra fires, and the magmasaur egg hatched early the next morning. Now it was just a race against the clock to see if I could finish 2 more caves by the end of the day. First, this little guy had to grow up. I didn't have any sulfur or ambergris to feed it, but I did have a pig that could heal it. My baby raising settings are pretty high, so it was done by lunchtime. I think we'll call you Smokey. Genesis Part 1's missions were a glitchy mess on Xbox, so I never actually got a Magmasaur before. If I'd realized they were this much fun, I'd have got one weeks ago. Enough fun for now though, we've got 2 more Viking loot boxes to find. Saving my favorite lava parkour cave for last, we headed into this lava river where there's supposed to be a tunnel. I was pretty nervous about this anyway, so when I started seeing these damage numbers, I tried to turn around. I thought it was hurting me, but turns out it was my shoulder mount, Snape. We'll remember you always, little buddy. In we go again. This time, nothing was taking any damage, so we swam on through the tunnel, which absolutely did not look big enough for a Magmasaur, and up into this cave. It was pretty and purple and full of bugs, of course. I was greeted by an Arthropleura and this disappearing ghost spider. Smokey was already at half health, so I threw out this Rex Walfrey to help. But for some reason, he ended up running off and starting his own battle at the end of the tunnel instead. While he was down there fighting, these Onyx started attacking our back. And I was not about to lose this new Magmasaur, so I ran away and led them to Walfrey instead. Sorry buddy, there's this Viking spear skin in there and I just have to have it. If the Magmasaur dies, I can't get back out of the cave. I cryoed up old Smokey and we headed in on a couple of Tech Rexes instead. At this point, I thought I was going to have to fight all the creepy crawlies and bats, so I was pretty concerned that we wouldn't make it in time. Somehow I hoped that the extra Rex wouldn't fall in the lava, but that wasn't the case. Rose took off after this scorpion and over the side she went. I was able to whistle her to the safety of this ledge, but with no time for games, I decided to leave her. The Viking skin was on the left side instead, so I started very slowly making my way down the ledge. At this point, I was pretty on edge and I couldn't afford to make any more mistakes. One wrong move and in the lava we'd go, Rex, cryopods and all. Made it down and chomped through a bat before grabbing the Viking skin and runestones. I was far enough away that I didn't aggro all the bugs and bats up top. Now all I had to do was make my way back out. I managed to walk the Rex back up the side and was really thankful I didn't have to use any grapple. Said our last goodbyes to the Tech Rex Rose, then left through the lava on Smokey. Made good enough time in that cave that I still had a chance to get the Viking fur boots from the lava parkour cave. I was tired of playing the floor as lava, so I figured I might as well try to fit Smokey through. But no luck. Looks like we'll be playing this game again. Threw down some sleeping bags and in I went, with just 1 Rex, a crossbow, and enough grapples to get me back out. Left everything else in Cheeto because I learned my lesson and I know better now. The lava is ruthless and what goes in is gone for good. I've done this lava run several times at this point, but every jump my heart still drops. It wasn't really fear of losing my gear. But one tiny mistake could be my end, and there I'd be having to do all this again. Made it all the way to the last jump, and, well, I didn't jump. Just ran right into the lava instead. Took a moment to gather myself before readying my Rex and making the final jump. Pretty sure I used up the last of my luck back there, so we better be careful. Autochomp was a beast and made short work of the cave critters, but I had to cryo him up real quick to fit through this door. And here we are again. Across the bridge and down the cliff to the Viking skin we go. I'd done this a few times now, but this time I encountered a new problem. We ended up on this shorter piece of ledge, and no matter which way I moved, forwards or backwards, we ended up closer and closer to the lava. Played hokey pokey for a bit with the lava before finally giving up and just hopping off the Rex so the bats would come to us. That's when I encountered an entirely new problem for this cave. Mega rabies. You just can't make this stuff up, folks. I rushed through the rest of the bats and then grabbed the Viking skin as fast as I could. I hooked my grapple, then cryoed up Autochomp before almost accidentally dropping myself in the lava when I hit the wrong button. These rabies are rough. My health was draining fast and my stamina was gone. Threw out the Rex and hopped on. I was so close this time, please don't let me die. Lost a bit more health when I fell after cryoing my Rex. Oops. Then it was time to make my way back across the lava. There was no room for mistakes this time. If I so much as dipped a toe in the lava, I'd be dead. It was still extremely scary, but I decided to take the easy way out. Grappled across the rocks instead of jumping, though I still had a few close calls as I dangled from the ceiling. It was a bit difficult to decide where to grapple so that I'd actually end up over a rock and not lava, but we finally made it out with our Viking fur boots. Spent that evening trying on all my new Viking gear. I'd managed to get the Viking loot boxes from 10 different caves, live on a boat, and took out the twin broodmothers, Itsy and Bitsy, explored a new map, made some new dino friends, and had a really good time doing it. Where will our next adventure take us? Only the comments will tell.